right, everyone. So when you hear me say the words that, a good man should live a shameless life, you may be thinking, well, Reuben, that seems completely counterintuitive to what you've been talking about these past few episodes. And let me explain. So first off, with all these things, I like to give us a definition that we all can work from so that we're not in the dark as to what the other person is thinking. So that we're on the same plane, here's a definition of shame. Get my English voice going. According to the Oxford Dictionary, shame is a painful feeling of humiliation or distress caused by the consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior. It's the Oxford Dictionary. I figured that a British-esque voice would be good. So I think that's actually a pretty fair definition, right? So this idea that you do something out of character, out of line, that you're unhappy about, and it causes this sense of shame, right? And if you thought when I said live a shameless life that I meant you should just do bad things and not feel bad about it, that's not at all what I'm advocating for. That's a shitty way to live life, and it makes you a dick, okay? Just straight up, that's what it does. I am not at all saying that you shouldn't feel bad when you do wrong. You should. That's a great indicator that tells you, hey, you need to correct course because you've gone off the rails, you've derailed, and you're not acting in accord with the man you should be. And so, yeah, shame's a good thing in the sense that it's a compass that points you in the right direction. It says, you're askew. Get back on track. So, in that sense, yeah, shame's a good thing. But what I am advocating for, I'm not advocating for the not feeling shame. What I am advocating for is that you aim to live a life where you don't do those bad things so you don't feel that shame. There's enough to stress about already in life. Don't make yourself one of those things. You don't need to stress about yourself. And so, one of the reasons this whole topic came to mind and why I'm talking about it is because I've been thinking a lot about the lives of the men that I most respect in my own life, that I have been blessed enough to, be around and to kind of witness their life and see it from a third-person point of view. And all these men, I was trying to think of, what is the common denominator for all their lives? And one of the things that popped out and was incredibly clear to me was that they live shameless lives, just straight up. And what I mean by that is they are incredibly authentic because they have a framework and they stick to the framework. And all these men, because of this, you get this sense that they're just super solid men, that they are authentic, that they're noble, that, they are virtuous. And because of all these things, they've also been able to accomplish a lot. And so you kind of look at them with this sense of, damn, they've made it. They've really they've lived an honorable and a noble life. And that's worth admiring. And so, yeah, one of the things that they all have in common is this idea that, okay, they live a shameless life. And so the question is, how do you live that shameless life? And I also want to be clear, these men that I've seen their lives, develop and they've just done some awesome things with their lives. They also get stressed about things. I'm not trying to say that living a shameless life means you're not stressed about things. But what it does mean is you're not stressed about yourself. You can be stressed about other things, man. There's relationships to stress about. There's money issues to stress about. There's the state of the world to stress about, And I'm sure I'll be doing episodes down the road talking about how to handle that stress, and I'm still working on that myself. But, once again, there's enough stuff to stress about. So don't make yourself one of those things. Sleep well at night, at least when you think about yourself. Think back in your day, live a life where you can think back into your day and say, I acted the same way that, I would any day because I was following my set of ethics, my moral code. And so that's kind of bringing us into how do you go about living this shameless life. So let's get into it. The first step that they all take is to be authentic, to be truthful. And, culturally, I know that this is a big no-no, but they're morally upright, okay? Now, I make it very clear, this channel is not a religious channel. This is just a bunch of dudes talking, trying to figure out life together and striving for greatness in all that we do. And so, personally, like I said before, I'm Catholic. I'm proudly Catholic, and I love that Catholicism and Christianity as a whole gives you a great framework when it comes to morals and ethics and how you should live your life. It's very easy, plug and play. If you work in accord with those things, you're a happier man. If you work outside of that framework, you're you're less happy. But regardless of whether you're religious at all or not, as a man in the 21st century, it's crucial that you have certain inherent traits about you that you stick to 24/7 and you do not derail from that track. So make it a habit to say, I am a man who does not lie. That is who I am. And when I do lie, that is me acting against my nature, acting against this set of rules I have put in place for myself. And so, I think a lot of these things inherently you feel bad about if you do them, right? It's like, if you kill somebody, if you lie, if you cheat, if you steal, all these things, you have a conscience. And so you get this relay of information telling you did the wrong thing. But there's a lot of nuanced areas of life too that I think you need to have a moral framework, right? Religion has done a great job of that for me. But regardless, once again, of whether or not you're religious, you need to have that framework to work in. Because otherwise, you're just loosey-goosey. You're shooting all these different directions, and you don't actually know how you're trying to live your life, right? There's a difference between a laser and a like the sun. The sun spreads out all its light, but a laser is very concentrated, and it can do a lot of crazy things because of that. So if you stay concentrated and you stay within this framework you've created for yourself, you can do amazing things. Otherwise, your accomplishments will be nominal. They'll just won't be that impressive. So, make that framework and live within it. That's what all these guys that I've seen in my life, who are older and or have seen more life than I have, all these guys work within a framework, and they stick to it, and they do not jump off that trail. So, I'll end this section of the podcast with a challenge. The challenge is, think about the things in your life as a man growing up, in the 21st century, regardless of your age. Think about the things that you do currently that are out of line with who you want to be as a man. And then don't just think about them, but change them, right? So I do think part of this shameless life idea, is that you are not an open book necessarily emotionally or anything like that, but you are very clear about who you are. You know who you are, you stick to it, and so you're authentic. And so, in keeping with that, I like to share with you all kind of the things that I'm struggling with, because it lets you know that, like, I want you to know I am very flawed. But like, two things that come to mind for me that that kind of have been bringing me shame recently is like, and you're going to think this is weird, okay? You're going to be like, Reuben, this is so odd. Like, why is this bringing you shame? But like, working out. I haven't been working out very much recently. And now I know that for a lot of people, that's not part of your life, and you like to just go on a walk, and like this whole working out thing, you don't do it. I think most guys should. That's a whole different discussion. But for me, as Reuben Stamper, I have told myself for the past couple years now that I am a man who works out. That's a thing I do. That's a part of, like, that's a thing that I stick to and I make time for and I prioritize. And recently, now life's been very busy, but that's no excuse. Like, I can find the time. I just am choosing not to. I won't, because I'm being lazy, and that's been making me pissed with myself. That's one of the things that sometimes I'll lay in bed and I'll be about to go to bed. I'm like, damn, Reuben, like, yeah, maybe you did the stuff with the podcast and you accomplished X, Y, or Z, but you didn't work out. You said you were going to work out and you didn't do it. And so that's something I need to work on. So I'm going to do better at that. My challenge is think about these things, and then don't just think about them, but go change it. Make a change in your life for the better. That's going to make you happier and less stressed about you, And then, like, another thing for me, I am religious. I think prayer is super important for my life. I think it guides me in a lot of ways, and it clarifies a lot of issues that are going on in my life. And I haven't been praying as much as I should be. Like, having a very solid prayer life is something that to me really matters. That's a priority for me. And so it's one of those things too, where I'm like, I'm dropping the ball in this department. I need to pick it back up. I need to take charge, and I need to go do something about it. And so those are just two minor things that, like, for me, have been bringing me shame, and they pull me away from the man that I want to be. And so I need to do better. And I'm going to do better. Screw it. I'm going to do better. And so tomorrow I'm going to work out. I'm going to pray a little better. Okay. I'm going to dedicate myself to those things and really knocking those out. But my challenge is the same to you. Think about the things in your life that may be dragging you away from the badass man that you are meant to be, right? And you see it and you say, oh my gosh, I should be doing so much better in this department. You can. The answer to all these questions of whether you can. Okay? That's the whole point of this podcast. You get to make choices that change your future. You get to make choices that, can better you or that can make you into a dirtbag, okay? So choose the choices that will make you into a better man. Live a shameless life. Be authentic. Be true. Do not hide truth from people. And you're going to live a happier life. And you're going to be a happier man. And people are going to respect you more and more.